and you like the fact that new ground has been broken today on the Savage Nation, and it's giving new hope to you that there is some intelligent life out there. KKOH in Reno, Lino in Reno. You're on the Savage Nation. Lino, what's on your mind? Lino. Go. I guess he's gone with the wind. Oh, I hate those kind of calls. You're talking about anger. You should smote a caller who was not there when you pressed the button. I want God to put that into the new edition. Any caller who is not there when I press the button shall be smote. I hit the wrong button? Okay, I'll hit the right button. Line 6. Go ahead. Make your point, please. I hit the wrong button.
Oh, okay. Michael, this is one of the few times I disagree with you in your assessment of the holy books, especially the Torah and the Haftorah. And that is, when the Israelites were coming into the Exodus, the religious practices that made the Israelites unique had fallen into desuetude, and they had picked up the moral practices of the Egyptians, and they had to be purged. And in those days, the only way to do that was to use this means. That's the context.
Well, I would say that we're worse off today than the Jews were when they entered Egypt.
Well, that's true, but
this country's not sicker than any nation in the history of the world. Well, are you telling me America is not sicker today than any nation that's ever existed? It's morally bankrupt because of the president. A president's supposed to lead a nation, supposed to give it some moral guidance. But because he is an overt atheist, I don't believe he's a Muslim, by the way. I believe he was raised as a Muslim, but the man is a diehard atheist, communist, Marxist. He could care less about religion. He is exactly what a Marxist is. To him, religion is the opiate of the masses. He thinks he's God. So why would he believe in religion? Nevertheless, yes, the nation is dying because there's no moral leadership. I agree with you.
Well, to purge out these moral habits, it was required. They were so strong that they had to be purged out. It could only be purged out in this way, in this context.
You mean so they killed fortune tellers?
Well, it had to, because there was an.
Why would they kill someone who mocked a bald man? Some of it's stupid.
These things taken together formed moral habits that were so strong.
In other words, someone was bald and you mocked him, they killed him. Okay, that made sense.
That they didn't. It wasn't just mocking them. That was the issue. The issue was uncleanliness. And it is remarkable that God, the object of it is this. And for instance, in Leviticus here...
Death for blasphemy, kill false prophets. Infidels and gays should die, they say. Kill anyone who approaches the tabernacle, number 148. Kill people for working on the Sabbath, Exodus 31:12. Oh, so what you're saying is in order to bring the people back to religion, you got to kill those who wouldn't go along with the program. Along the lines of Jim Jones, and you give him the Kool-Aid, in other words.
Not quite. The object being, and to quote the second verse of the 19th chapter in Leviticus, he says, "Be ye holy, because I, the Lord, am your God, and I am holy. Be ye holy, as I am holy." And it's remarkable how many times God says this. In other words, this was the only way to eliminate strong moral habits. To make those people holy, to conform them to God, who is creating.
So do you think that should be done in America today? Start killing everyone who's not religious?
No, we've gone beyond that time, and by the time we merged to the time of Jesus Christ, the thing that you didn't really need to kill anybody to get your point across. It was just a simple matter of excommunicating somebody or telling them that they weren't going to receive the sacraments until the end of their life. That was sufficient to deal with the problem. But in the time that we're speaking of, this was sufficient to deal with this problem in order to basically create a condition in which we have a holy people dedicated to God.
Okay, I can see your point of view from an historical point of view, but I'm talking about it from a political point of view. Obama is flooding America with Muslims, many of whom are illiterate in any language, including their own language. They believe in the sufficiency of a single book called the Quran. They read it as though it is the only book ever written, and they hate everybody else. Now, can we survive as a nation with that kind of book being brought into this nation?
That book is a mixture of all kinds of different...
Right. I understand. It was taken from the Old Testament. It was taken from the teachings of Jesus, and it had some original aspects as well. I understand all of that, but I'm asking a question about violence in these holy books is the issue.
Well, the violence is not intended to be an end in itself in the Old Testament, whereas in the Quran it is intended to be an end in of itself. That is the distinction between the two books. The one
that's well put. That is well put.
Yes.
That is well put. Are you a religious scholar?
Well, I'm a traditional, devout Roman Catholic. I practice the old faith as you knew it before Vatican II.
Then I don't think you're a big fan of the new Pope.
I'm not. I'm completely opposed to him. I was declaring his heresies long before anybody else did. And
are you as convinced as I am that this man was planted in the papacy because he is a stone-hearted Marxist?
Yeah, there's evidence to that. There's evidence to suggest that there was some funny business with regard to Pope Benedict, but we're not going to go into that. But
no, it's a separate question. But he's coming here to give his pontifications, the pontiff is, on global warming, which is one of the most ludicrous things I've ever heard of. But I don't want to get off the track here and go into theocracy as it merges with ecology. I think that you've made a very lucid point, and I like the way you presented your argument in an unemotional manner and how you stuck to your argument despite my attempts to throw you off base with my sarcasms. You didn't take the bait, my friend. You're pretty good.
Thank you.
No, you're very good. You're very good at what you do. You must be a great teacher.
Thank you, Michael.
Well, I mean it. I know the difference between one type of teacher and another. Can I send you my book, Countdown to Mecca? I will do so only under one condition, is that you not read it in public in any hotel in Reno, for fear that you may offend someone who sees the title. Stay on the line. We'll get a copy out to you shortly. Well, this is a very serious topic. I mean, it's, I don't think anybody, I didn't intend to do this. I didn't wake up today and say, you know what I'm going to do? I think I'm going to talk about violence in the holy books. I didn't think of that, but it came up because I'm a free thinker in a free country, in a free time, in a free land. And as a result, it's led to some vigorous conversation that I think is long overdue. And frankly, I've learned something from this conversation thus far. And I don't think it's the last time we're going to touch on this. I would only ask the following. I would appeal to my religious Jewish listeners, if there are any. I don't know if there really are any. I hear many of them like me and they listen, but I don't really think that that's true. There may be 1 or 5 or 10. I hear I have a monster audience amongst a certain sect of Judaism, the Chabad people, but I never hear from them. I don't know if they really listen. I would hope that you're open-minded enough to have heard this discussion thus far and not say, I'm never listening to Michael Savage again because he has committed blasphemy. For if you were to do that, then you're confirming everything I just said that is wrong with the Bible. I'll be right back.
Join the Savage Nation. Call now, 855-400-SAVAGE, 855-400-7282. Savage.
Hey, our Savage Nation is sponsored by SwissAmerica.com, the only company I trust for wealth insurance, gold and silver. Call 800-BUYCOIN. It is the Savage Nation, and what a day it's been. This is amazing. You know, I've been sick for a week and a half. I've had limited energy. And today is the first show I've had in over a week where I was able to do the whole show with all my energy. And I stumbled upon this idea today. I didn't plan it. Luckily, I'm well read in the Old Testament, the New Testament, and some other religions, so I can handle it somewhat. I don't claim to be a theologian, but theology is a very important part of politics, as you well know. It's the basis of all politics, incidentally. And I have no better evidence for that than to say that Marxism was built upon the rejection of all religion. Remember that. Never forget that Marxism was developed by an atheist, Karl Marx, who hated the religion of his own people, Christianity in Russia. And he said, religion is the opiate of the masses. So on the face of it, all right, you get a bunch of poor peasants and you promise them bread in the next life and you promise them rain for their crops, and if they do good, they'll get this and that. But they're not going to get it in this life. They're going to get it in the next life. So they continue to suffer in this life, hoping that they'll get rewarded in the next life. So Karl Marx said, that's a bunch of garbage. I want to revise my nation of Russia. So I want to throw out all the religion. I want to create a new belief system, a belief in the state, a belief in government, a belief in centralized government. And that's what communism was. It's as simple as that. You probably never heard as simple an explanation for what this is all about than just now. That's because I'm a former science teacher who had to learn. I had a gift for taking very complicated ideas and reducing them to simple terms for children. And I myself am a child in some fields of thought, so I have to reduce these ideas to simple ideas so I can understand them, and I have the ability to translate it to you. Okay, so Marxism was a philosophy, an economic philosophy, built upon the hatred of religion, the destruction of religion, and replacing religion or God with the state. We understand where that led. It led to 60 to 80 million deaths in the last century. Everybody knows that on the planet except Barack Obama and the sorority girls. Left-wing governments have been thrown out of office across the entire Western Hemisphere, whether it be England had the last election. Wherever you look, and nowhere in America, except in America, do you see the left-wing thriving. But that's a topic for another day. So then we come to the next issue of politics, religion and politics. I have wondered why it is that the Christian religion has produced generations of individuals in Western Europe and in America that have produced so many wonders for the world, have given so many advancements to humanity. I can name the fields, I can name the inventions, and I claim it's all based upon the religion of Christianity that enabled them to do it. Or if you wish, you could look at all the Nobel Prize winners who happen to be Jewish. You would say it has something to do with the enlightenment of the religion itself that has freed the minds of men to enable them to create. You could look at it that way. And then you ask yourself, why is it that so many hundreds of millions of people live under the oppression of religions which imprison them, turn them into virtual slaves, where their free thinking is not only not encouraged, it is punished by death. And then you'll understand why the world is in such hell. And then you'll ask yourself, why would a government permit the importation of individuals with such retrograde thinking and a holy book filled with such hatred? Just food for thought, something to ponder.